Did you know, we now offer channel memberships? You can also leave a tip. Your support is vital to the growth of this channel. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you and enjoy the video.
The quest for lost media is ongoing and ever-present. Across the world and web, people search tirelessly for pieces of nostalgia lost to time. But while everyone and their brother searches for well-known pieces like Saki Sorno Bashi, Slamfest 99 and lost episodes of Doctor Who, there are thousands of other pieces still waiting to be found that no one is looking for. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Hello again, each and every one of you. I am Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and we're back with Volume 25, wow, of your favorite lesser-known lost media. This is by far the most popular series on my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you need an explanation, it is in literally all 24 of the previous videos, and we are going to get right into this today. At number 1, we have Jian Yu Meng Yin, also known as Reflection of Crescent, which is a lost, cancelled Chinese direct-to-video boys love animation from 2011. Jian Yu Meng Yin, also known by its English title Reflection of Crescent, was a Chinese animated project focusing on a romantic love triangle between male characters living on a futuristic society where demons and humans coexist. Planned to be launched in OVA, or video animation, format, the first official announcement was made on August of 2010, with plans to be released sometime around 2011. However, it wasn't until 2015 when the full written script was announced. The project was cancelled or suspended after that for unknown reasons. The animation studio, Great Demon Nation Production, didn't make an official statement other than the project was moved on to another studio, and then faded to obscurity again. Because of monetary problems from the original animation studio, the project was sold to Seven Stone Studio, but they also never made an official statement aside from the fact that the full script was already written. Now, the plot of this was that the story was planned as a fantasy sci-fi setting where the humans start to experiment with their genome to become the superior race, while the demons try to reach the same goal through education and the rising of their cult. After a war between both clans, they make a deal to achieve peace, creating an institute where the youngest representatives of both races can coexist. The three main characters are Kai Yalun, a representative of demons and the successor of the Demon King, Sol Weigal, a distinguished member of the human elite, and Wei Yi, a half-demon, half-human student. Now, what is available of this? Well, there is a lack of information about the projects, remaining only the synopsis found on Latin/Spanish forums at the date of its announcement, the names of the three characters, and a trailer featuring the original studio, Great Demon Nation Production, which intended for this to be their first work. A website about the animation is known to exist, but it is currently down, with a free domain name and showing ads for lottery numbers. The website could also be considered lost, as the Wayback Machine can't find anything relating to the dates of production and release. All of the information about its release date was uploaded on Chinese websites that seem to have been deleted by now, with only a My Anime list page and some data on Spanish forums remaining. In 2012, Vocaloid China project Senden Animation released a short series of chapters about 3 minutes where Yalun and Weigal appear as short cameos. It is unknown the reason why they appear on the series, excepting that both projects belong to Seven Stone Studio. There were rumors about a very limited proof distribution of the DVD, since some Chinese blogs about the animation posted information about the DVD, explaining it was a pack with one DVD containing the first OVA, a full-colored comic, a manhwa, and some image cards. It is not confirmed that this distribution occurred, even though photos of the manhwa and cards do exist. This one I find very interesting because, one, not only do we not hear a lot about Chinese animation projects here in the West. We get a lot of mostly from Japan. There's also some Korean projects that we've started to get, but mostly it's just Japan. So Chinese animation projects are definitely a rarity. But also the fact that it was my understanding that China is not very they're not very tolerant of LGBTQ+, or at least they weren't. And so this seems to have been, back when they weren't super, would have been a time when I believe they wouldn't have been super tolerant, but there was a project considering a love triangle of 3 male characters. Now, I could be wrong, I could be misinformed, and China could be totally cool with LGBTQ+, but that was not my understanding. So I just think this project is kind of cool, and maybe someday there'll be more of it available. Alright, coming in at number 2, we have Youngblood, which is a partially found production material for the cancelled Fox Kids animated series based on this comic of the same name from 1995. Youngblood is a superhero comic book series created by Rob Liefeld, who is most famous for having created both Deadpool and the adult version of Cable from the X-Men that we all know and love today. Youngblood was the first book ever published by Image Comics and was released in April of 1992. The series was born out of an idea of a Teen Titans book where Arsenal leads a team of Titans that work for the government. It's also meant to take place in a world where superheroes are celebrities, complete with merchandise, talk show appearances, and movie. Mostly it's known for its exaggerated art style, with a heavy focus on action scenes and relatively thin storylines. So essentially it sounds like Youngblood was kind of an early version of The Boys, like The Boys definitely exist in a similar kind of world. As for the animated adaptation, an adaptation of Youngblood was set to air on Fox Kids in 1995 alongside a Cyberforce series. It was to be made by the newly formed Roustabout Productions. According to Nick Dubois, Youngblood would have taken a light-hearted approach to the source material with tongue-in-cheek humor. In 1993, Liefeld financed the pitch demo with Roustabout. The video showcases the action, team, and overall premise of the series. For a long time, no recording with audio was available, leading many to believe that none was ever recorded. However, on June 22nd of 2022, the pitch demo with fully intact audio was uploaded to YouTube. Furthermore, this video contained what would have been the opening of the Youngblood show, which hadn't been seen before up to that point. Based on what little has been seen of it, Youngblood would have been an action animated series with a style similar to X-Men. Characters that would have appeared included Shaft, Badrock, Vogue, Die Hard, Chapel, Riptide, Sentinel, and Troll. The demo highlights the team's dynamic, varying power sets, humorous moments, and the celebrity aspect of their careers. Most likely, some of the edgier content from the original, such as the excessive violence, blood, killing, and sexuality, would have been toned down to a more age-appropriate level. The demo notably features them fighting robot enemies rather than humans, though it's unknown how representative that would have been of their overall adventures had the show ultimately been made. Youngblood was ultimately canned due to Marvel securing a deal with Fox Kids to be the only comic book company on the channel, thus the Youngblood series never materialized. Outside of the demo, it's unknown just how far development had gotten before the show was cancelled, seeing as how the show had been greenlit and in active development until then, as nothing else has surfaced. I think this one is interesting because I've never read Youngblood, but what I always knew of it was people always made fun of if a comic book character was drawn and their pupils were missing, it was joking that they had Youngblood disease based on the characters not having pupils in the original comic, and it's kind of used as a punchline. But who knows, had their show been made and come out, Youngblood could be just as popular and just as well known as X-Men. I mean, X-Men had been around for a very, very long time, but as a child, I had no idea that X-Men was a thing until it premiered on Fox Kids, and I remember it premiered the exact same day Power Rangers did. And that was a great Saturday morning for 5-year-old kindergarten me, mind you. But, I also thought Wolverine's name was X-Man because, I mean, I could barely read at that point, and it was like X-Men, and it would show Wolverine, and it's like, clearly that must be X-Men. But back to the thing is, who knows how popular Youngblood could have been had, we all been introduced to them the same way we were introduced to X-Men. At number 3, we have Eminem's Relapse sessions, which are partially found unreleased records whose existence is unconfirmed, circa 2006 to 2009. On September 15th of 2008, at an event held to celebrate the release of his autobiography, The Way I Am, Eminem publicly stated his return to the world of hip-hop and announced Relapse, an album that was being produced by Dr. Dre. He also previewed a brand new demo song titled, I'm Having a Relapse. After numerous delays which pushed the album's release forward from December 2008 and then March 2009, Relapse would release 8 months following its original announcement on May 15th of 2009. Now, according to a personal anecdote from O-Tray9 label owner Terry Simon, Eminem would often spend 12 to 15 hours recording in a studio, and that he never took a hiatus from recording, with allegedly over 300 unreleased songs by February of 2009, which were then cherry-picked and polished by Dr. Dre for Relapse. The unknown aspect of this lost media is the number of songs which were deemed worthy enough to appear on the album, but were kept off. Over 300 songs were stated to have been recorded, but that number may just have been an estimate or an inflated figure, as well as possibly referring to tracks which existed in alternate versions, such as Crack a Bottle and Emulate. Since Simon did not have a direct connection to Eminem and got his information from a secondary source, it is unknown whether or not the claim of 300 unreleased songs is true. In spite of the 2008 Universal Records fire, which would have affected Eminem's master recordings due to his signing to record label Interscope, it is known that Eminem backed up all of his recordings in advance. Of songs produced by Eminem from 2006 to 2009, it is known that 6 songs, including features, released on the Re-Up, 1 demo track released online, I'm Having a Relapse, 15 songs released on the normal version of Relapse, 2 songs released on the deluxe version of Relapse, My Darling and Careful What You Wish For, 7 songs released on Relapse Refill, 1 song, Ridas, released on Recovery, Eminem's 2010 album, 11 songs were leaked by Kulo in 2011, and 1 final song previously released in an incomplete form, Nut Up, was leaked in full in 2019. Totaling in 44 tracks released from these sessions. Note that the above list does not include skits, nor does it include collaborations with other artists. With this in mind, it stands to reason that upwards of 250 tracks recorded by Eminem from 2006 to 2009 remain unreleased. Relapse was originally intended to have a sequel entitled Relapse 2, although this was halted due to the lukewarm contemporary reception for the album, which has since received retrospective acclaim, and instead an extended play entitled Relapse Refill was released in late 2009. It is likely that Eminem's follow-up album released in 2010, Recovery, featured some of the work originally compiled for Relapse 2, in particular the album's title track Cold Wind Blows, although this has never been directly confirmed. Again, why I think this is interesting, I mean, I grew up with Eminem, I grew up watching, in middle school when I first started watching MTV back when there was still music on it, there was The Real Slim Shady, then there was Without Me, and then there was Just Lose It, and Eminem is still a popular artist, he's still a great artist, and we've seen him it's amazing what he can do. I'm not even a big fan of rap, but I think he is an immensely talented individual, and the fact that out there might be 250 tracks that have never been released, I mean, that is a treasure trove of Eminems. That's better than an entire bucket full of M&Ms on Halloween, to get that much Eminem all in one place just waiting to be found, so I think it's really interesting. At number 4, we have the missing work of another incredibly talented musician, An Evening with Steven Lynch, which is an unreleased lost concert film circa 2009 to 2010. Now, Steven Lynch has been called a musician trapped in the body of a comedian. He is a singer, songwriter, actor, and comedian with multiple best-selling albums to his name. He also originated the role of Robbie Hart in the musical adaptation of The Wedding Singer, which earned him Tony, Drama Desk, and Drama League nominations for acting in 2006. As a follow-up to his 2004 DVD Live at the El Rey, which I still own, by the way, and his 2 successful Comedy Central specials, it was announced in February of 2010 that a concert had been filmed in Portland most likely on March 16th of 2009 at the Aladdin Theater, the only Portland date listed around that time on his website. His website stated that it would air later this year with a new DVD to follow. Also at this time, a mention of the future special was added to the discography section of his site. In the profile of Lynch on the APA Talent and Literary Agency website, the special was mentioned for a time stating, "World-famous music director Gregory Dark is in production on Steven's new concert film, which will be submitted to film festivals. In addition, Comedy Central will be airing 1 hour of the concert film, followed by a DVD." Now, however, since these initial statements, his site, nor Comedy Central made any announcements in relation to the film, and both mentions were removed when his site was revamped on September 21st, 2012, in preparation of his then upcoming album, Lion. On June 2nd of 2014, Lynch announced that he would be taping 2 shows for a new special at the Little Theater in Kalamazoo, Michigan on June 5th. This special would later be released as Hello Kalamazoo in late of March 2016. These tapings called the future of the unreleased film into further questioning. So, not long after the publication of the article about this piece of Lost Media on the Lost Media Wiki, the author was contacted by Steven Lynch himself, noting that he didn't realize people outside of Portland were even aware of the taping. Lynch explained why the film hadn't been released, stating, "Long story short is that I wasn't happy with what was filmed, the shows, the material, the performance, etc., so I shelved it." On the notion of a potential release of the special, Lynch revealed, "I revisited it recently to see if maybe I could put something together, and I hated it even more, especially in comparison to the shows we were doing on the Lion tour, so it is unlikely that any of it will ever be released. Maybe a song or two, but never the full concert, which sucks because we shot it on film and it cost me a small fortune, but I'm just too unhappy with it to put it out into the world." Lynch later added, "Maybe I'll use some footage for extras on a future DVD, if DVDs are even still a thing anymore. If not, it'll be like that Jerry Lewis Holocaust clown movie, and only be whispered about in certain circles." When asked about the set list of the show, Lynch admitted that he no longer remembers it, but did state that it was very Three Balloons heavy, with some old songs thrown in, and added that it included some video elements and frequent touring partners, David Josephsberg and Rod Cohn. Also, he later noted, that was the tour that we closed with Purple Rain, which for obvious reasons I wouldn't be able to use for the special anyway. The new special is going to be fucking amazing though, he added. The film is currently listed on IMDb as An Evening with Steven Lynch, the name of his tour at the time. So here we have a piece of Lost Media that we know exists. It's even been confirmed to the Lost Media Wiki by the creator itself that it exists, but unfortunately he's just not a fan of how it turned out. And I love Steven Lynch, and I'm sure I would love seeing this, but I don't think we're ever going to. Alright guys, well now's the point that before we get to that final piece of our not safe for work video, piece of Lost Media entry, that I get to pitch my business and beg you for a little bit of money. Of course, if you want to support the channel by buying one of my miniatures, for which the channel is named, head on over to my links in the description, go to Etsy, eBay, Mercari, whichever one you're comfortable with, and consider buying a miniature. There are minis on eBay as low as $4 a piece, and you know what, there's all kinds of good stuff, both kit-bashed and not safe for work miniatures. I am also really pushing and pitching my Patreon and my YouTube memberships. Becoming a Patreon or becoming a channel member, it can be as cheap as $3 a month, and it does help me greatly, and it does, based on which tier you join, there are any number of potential perks you could get. Again, it will never be a requirement for this content to join either one, but I would really appreciate it if you did. Especially now, got the holidays coming up, and every dollar helps. So if you could splash a little cash my way, it would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's get to that final piece of Lost Media. Alright, so at number 5, we have the final videotape of Daniel V. Jones, a lost final videotape of a Los Angeles self-unaliving victim in 1998. On April 30th of 1998, Daniel Victor Jones, a 40-year-old maintenance worker from Long Beach, California, drove his pickup truck to a Los Angeles freeway along with his pet dog Gladys. He then proceeded to get the attention of the police using a loaded shotgun. The freeway was closed and several news helicopters began covering the incident, which was being broadcast live. At one point, Jones set his truck on fire with a Molotov cocktail, then grabbed his shotgun and unalived himself, all of which was caught on camera. His dog Gladys perished inside the flaming pickup truck. Jones had been suffering from both HIV and cancer and claimed to have been mistreated by health maintenance organizations, HMOs. His live self-unaliving was meant as a protest against HMOs. Moments before taking his life, he unfurled a banner on the freeway that read, "HMOs are in it for the money. Live free, love safe, or die." Now, here comes the piece of lost media. Shortly before he took his own life, Jones threw a satchel containing a videotape over the freeway wall. Authorities recovered the videotape, which was a unaliving note recorded by Jones the previous day. The contents of the tape were shared in the news days after his unfortunate passing. Ever since then, the tape hasn't been made public and its whereabouts are unknown. This one, I think, is interesting and tragic because here we have a man who was at his wit's end. His life was ending. He knew it. He knew it was going to be a painful death, and he felt like the medical care facilities had failed him. This was a time when there wasn't a lot of knowledge about AIDS. I mean, we knew what it was, but, there was a lot of misinformation, and people that had it were treated like pariahs. Nowadays, we have medications that if you take them long enough, you can have unprotected sex and not pass HIV to your partner, but we certainly didn't have anything like that. And I looked into this one a little more. Daniel Jones, he wanted to get his message out there, and he's like, I want people to know what's going on, and I certainly don't want anyone other than myself to get hurt. This situation is ultimately my fault, but that doesn't mean what these HMOs are doing to me is right. And so he kind of got his message out in the only way he could think to do, and he put an end to his own suffering. And for the fact that I'm sure he had some words of, I don't know if I'd say wisdom, but certainly his last words were very important to him as he kind of threw it to where there was no chance it would get destroyed by what he was doing. I'm a little annoyed that he took his own dog out by doing this, because what did the dog ever do? But at the same time, the fact that the tape was never made public means that this man's final words cannot be heard. And I think that is a tragedy, unless he was saying something truly awful, in which case, oh well. And that's going to be our video today, guys. I want to give a big shout out to my 2 current patrons. We are a small legion, but we are a mighty legion. That, first of all, is a J-Dog. That's JDOGGG. One more G than the Snoop. So, that's just extra quality right there. And as always, Arthur D. Gonzalez Martin. J-Dog has agreed to do another future video with me, where me, J-Dog, and a couple other people will be reading off lists for our Banish Bed Wed video. If you have those suggestions, make sure those keep coming in. And of course, Arthur keeps giving me more suggestions for some of my RPG horror stories videos. So thank you to both of you, not only for your monetary support, but for being very active members of my channel's community. And remember, you all too can be active members of the community, whether that's through monetary subscription or just by leaving comments, liking, subscribing, posting stories to my subreddits, or just making sure that you come back for the next video and join us then. So until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.